we started having a very juicy conversation, and then I was like, stop, I'm recording it so that we can actually share this with other people in case it could help them, right? So thank you for being here, my beautiful friend Nicole. I
Well,
love I love that you're here, and I love that your heart is so open to share. And you were just saying something, so why don't you go back to what you were
yeah,
saying?
yeah, I love it because we've had such a good conversation, and then the juice starts coming, and
Yeah.
we don't record it, and we're like, we got to repeat everything. Well, we were talking about basically your program. What is the name of your program first? Because I want to give it a context.
Yeah, it's option C, elevated relationships.
Ooh, I love it.
The third option, instead of just staying in something that's meh or leaving.
Okay. Okay.
And it could be applied to anybody, parents. I've had people tell me I want to repair my relationship with my mother, my teenage daughter. Obviously my focus was always marital or common law relationships because I'm a divorce lawyer, but I know that this can be applied to any relationship. And I know that the key relationship is the one that we have with ourselves, which I'm sure ties to what you're about to say, without you even telling me what you're going to say. And it really just comes back to us. Everything we manifest, everything we create, our career, our business, our wealth, all of those things. This one, I'm coming in at a different angle of like focus on somebody who really wants to upgrade their relationships. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So, just giving a context, Rad and I met at the also referrals of Karen that I was collaborating with in one of my masterminds. She said, you need to meet this woman. When I was about to jump on a call with the lawyer of my children's father.
Yeah.
And it was like something that an opportunity that I have created, that I thought I created to go into negotiation.
Mm.
And with a relationship that I felt has been really a horrible relationship particularly since our separation.
Mm.
And definitely like a big part of the experience, even though I am very much about responsibility and how I operate. And this is one of the things I remember you gave me that feedback, like at some point where you're like, wow, you always take it back to you. And I love this because this is what I want to bring into people. So even though I have that, there's a big part of me where it's like the other person's the difficult, the complicated, like he's just doesn't, like.
Yeah. And it makes sense, babe, because you were emotional, right? So it's harder when you're in it because it's triggering our ego. So you would
Yeah.
have probably said the same thing to me. It's just like that mirror back that we need when things are difficult.
Exactly. So that's the context that we met. And I was like, whoa, there's a ex-lawyer that gets that we can create win-wins for all, which has always been my intention. And I have set this intention with the lawyer, with him, like nonstop. I don't care how much anything else. I'm like, my intention is to create win-win, to find something that fulfills everyone. And that includes the person we're working with. But this is when she came in. This is what you came in. And it felt like such like, okay, someone inside of this world is opening up and is doing this amazing needed work. Like I swear I was like praying for people in the law industry to have this awareness. So I personally was like so grateful of your existence and the work that you're doing from that place. And then the support you gave me was just that, someone holding and seeing me in the process and seeing me my intention and not feeling alone through it, because I felt so alone previous to that. So I just wanted to say that because to me, you were just such a blessing. The point was the connection and the validation and the support, and then the regrounding, because everything else takes you into the other person is the problem. Like I swear, I like literally, I feel like I could have no one that could hold me through yes, you're responsible, let's focus on you. And that's all we need to do. And then trust and just like so much love and compassion. So I just want to say that.
Thank you. And to be clear, it wasn't legal work. Like I was not practicing law at that point. You were it was a different even province. Like I couldn't even be the lawyer if I wanted to.
It was you helping me just like ground in this letter that I wanted to craft. That's it. It was like preparing myself psychologically for a meeting. And it serves so much. It has like the ripple effect for like the tangible thing was just connecting with someone that has this understanding and this level of compassion and care. I felt like my kids were actually care, that I was like investing on someone that was like, it was for me, it was just like, I am investing in someone that is in alignment with how I see we should be showing up for people when they're in conflict and when there's kids involved. Makes me want to cry. Like,
That makes me want to cry. I've already wanted to cry 3 times. It's a big deal though. It's our kids, it's our family, it's everything, it's our integrity, it's how we want to live, how we want to be. And I think the thing I loved working with you, if I could say, like, you were ready to do the work. You were ready to see, and you and I just talked about this off camera. I said to you, the people that find me are done with the blame game.
Oh,
They're kind of 1 foot, like now starting to awaken. Literally, it's like, I think it's a spiritual awakening, quite frankly, if I would just call it what I think it is. Like, it's an awakening of like, oh, hold on. Oh, how did I get here? Hold on. Oh, I'm part of the tangle. I'm part of the mess. So I'm part of the solution. Holy shit, right? It's like they're waking up. So people who come to me and they're like, oh, he's this, he's a narcissist. No, 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 it's him, it's him, it's him. I'm like, I love you. Keep going. And I share what I need to share. And we plant seeds, you know, it's pure love, timing. And you were ready for it. That was why it worked. And that's why we met, really.
Yeah.
That's how the universe puts people
I
together.
was looking for someone that had that understanding. Like I am doing, and this is what I think we were about to share, is that even though I had that awareness, when you're in it, when you're in the mix, it's so easy because we have an ego to go into the positioning yourself as the victim. Like it's so easy. It's so easy to do that. And so when I found you, I was like, oh my God, like I needed someone like you. Like, I was ready. I was looking for. I didn't even know it could exist, to be honest. So I'm like, okay, thank God there's women. We just loved each other so much instantly.
I love you.
When I was about to share before you press the record button was that what you're offering now, what you're creating, what you're all about, and this plan, what is it, Plan C? I love it because I was about to tell you, this is what I really it would have been a game changer before we separated. And I no longer am in the space of like regret of our separation. I'm actually very grateful for everything that had unfolded. Oh, I feel it in my stomach, like to actually feel the emotion of the gratitude. It took me so long to feel like that was not a fuck up for me, for my family, for my children, for my vision. Like it took me, well, it's not so fucking long actually. It's like just 4 years, but 5 years. And it's still a journey. And I'm like finally at that place where I'm just grateful for everything. I am grateful for everything. And I feel that if we would have had the tool of someone coming in and just really supporting in this like space of responsibility, seeing the power, like seeing what's unfolding, which I knew how to do for other people, but I couldn't do for us. Yeah. The moment because it was too personal. I was like literally off the hook, like hormonal and emotional, and like going through my own life middle, like 30 years old crisis really at that moment. So I just didn't have the capacity. And so having a third party come in with this ground, it would have like I personally believe like maybe we would have unfolded this that it is when by still staying connected or united in some way. Or even transition in a very harmonious way, in a very beautiful way, which wasn't the case for us. And today, like through the process, like I literally was praying for someone that could have this awareness when we were going through the separation. I just had no idea where to find it. It was like, wow, like where is the people that are not going to play one team? And like, if I'm in your team or against the other team, like, fuck that. It was just like, I had no idea where to find it. Like, and like, I was part of my deep hurt through the journey of my separation was our family transition, I'm going to call it, was that I was like, how can there be no humans that can show up this way? How can there be no humans that can show up as a neutral entity that it's holding the pain, the conflict, the triggers are coming out for the purpose of growth, really, that can shine the light in that way more than just me, And I'm not even doing this like professional. I would just do it for my friends in the community,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah, so beautiful.
so it was like an answer, like you would have been an answer to the prayers in like the multiple stages. And then even now, like, this is something I wanted to share. I mean, you can like now, like years after separation, thing is that I don't think people understand in the process sometimes of like the conflict before a separation, you're about to separate, is that the relationship, especially if you have children, doesn't end.
Never ends.
It never ends.
Ever. Yes,
And
please,
so,
thank you. I was gonna say the same thing. I'm like, 90% of my clients had kids. Like, where do you think you're going? And who pays for the conflict? Your kids. And we don't want it in the moment. And all of us, when we snap at our kids, when we do things, we know in the back of our head. And so my desire is to support those people who need tools and resources and love and compassion, and to understand how to navigate these complicated waters in a different way. You're like the fifth person this month that has said to me, I wish I knew you when I was in the mess of it, and that I looked for that and I read the books, and I couldn't believe it. Like, I'm not trying to be anything, but it's like, what do you mean? There must be something else. And my friends were like, no, I was listening to all these experts in the field. There was no true conscious, they couldn't get their hands on it. So if it existed, they never saw it. They never found it.
no, I didn't either. And
Yeah,
I was looking for
crazy.
it. Like I was looking for it. It was like whatever was there was like very surface. Like it was very surface. I remember like how do I like repair? And it was all like how to get your man back. And it was all these like manipulative things
Yeah,
that were just like, nah, no.
yeah.
And honestly, if I had this, like, I feel, I wanted to share this with you because this is in alignment with what you're bringing forth. And I wanted to go live and share this with my community. I might still do it, but before we even got on the call, I was thinking, oh, okay, this is the opportunity because I haven't come and share about this, and I've been guided to share about this breakthrough that I had recently, which is so powerful, and was my baby's daddy just bought a house in Winnipeg. And you know, my story is so like the story is I want my babies. I moved out of Canada. I moved out of there. It's been like basically part of our conflict has been I was done with the place we were living. And after a separation, there was like we're not talking about that reality. And I just felt so trapped and like played, and like there was just like all this like what the fuck? I cannot be trapped here. And the guidance was never to go into the system to fight for this. So I was like very clear energetically, like the going to lawyers and going through all of that is like a no. So I did it out of just my own process, but it felt like a mess, felt like a complete victim for many, many years. When we met, I was already like far out into like where I'm at now. And I always wanted to be there, like I said, but in terms of like the maturity of the emotions of it all, I was already living outside of Canada. My kids stay living there.
Yeah.
But I'm always in this last process when I stepped out, it's been about like, get the kids, how do I get the kids to be with me? How do I get him to open up? How do I get, so it's just like wanting for them to come, wanting to create the situation for them, for him to open up and bring the kids and da-da-da-da-da. And so when he bought the house, when the kids told me that they were going to look for houses and buy the houses, first my reaction was just like, I was just like so upset by it. You know, because I have this, like, keep having this hope that they'll come and they'll come for a vacation, they'll fall in love in here and they'll move here. And so my initial was like a response. I was, what is you doing? Like, I don't know. I asked
coming here.
Yeah, of course I have that. But then I'm like, I have no communication with their dad directly. So I'm like talking with them and I'm like asking my kids these questions, like, why is your dad going to look for, like, what is he trying to live there forever? Da, 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 da. And I'm just definitely like triggered. Then I just went through it and I'm like, I apologize to my kids because I had like, they ended up hanging up on me on that day. And then the next day they're like, yeah, we bought the house. And then I got triggered again. I'm like, I would just apologize. And now I'm like, okay. So I started asking questions again. I was like, can you tell me what your plan is for our children's life? Like, and he's like, did she celebrate it that you just got a house, like your dad got a house? And I was like, I can't celebrate this. This is like the opposite direction of what I want for my kids. Like, I don't think you're understanding what we're doing here. Like my life for them is I have nothing to celebrate. And I guess I was like, anyways, I was in that reaction again.
Mm,
Ended up getting off the call. I had a major, like, I haven't had emotional tantrums. When we met, I was still having like a lot of intense emotions.
mhm.
I'm gonna say this like Healy device machine that I've been playing with has like regulated all my emotions in a way that is so beautiful. I'm so grateful.
Wow.
And this is the first time I actually have like a feeling where I need to go like do this. I was like so upset. I was like, what the fuck are you burning the goddamn house? Like, God, I just allow myself to just have it. And I was like screaming at God. I'm like, I was like, why is he getting like, so I just had my tantrum. I fell asleep after, it lasted like 15 minutes. In the past, it would have lasted like an hour, 2 hours. I would have had to call my
This is it.
son, call
It's
me.
shorter, faster, more real,
Sure.
more raw, and you know exactly how to take yourself through it, which is what I hope for everyone that I work with. It's like, and you had so many of those before too, and then we
They were-
just added maybe a little bit, but the goal is to get people so that you could be your own therapist, you could be your own healer, you could be your own coach, right? You took yourself through a process with
Yeah.
compassion and grace, and we're like present with your emotions, right? You're like letting yourself feel.
I knew, yeah, and I had to just take, yeah, I was like, Nicole, this is time to just scream and cry and like just like melt on God's, like, you know, let him hold you, and like it's okay for you to be like, why? Just like leave it. And it lasted like 15 minutes. I passed out. I fell asleep like that. And the next morning I woke up, and because I am committed to responsibility and like checking myself and like I'm the center, I went and I went to pray like 4 or 5 in the morning. And I just had the revelation. It was just like, yeah, you're being selfish. And at one of the audio messages my baby sent me after, because they're so compassionate. Like seriously, these children are like
Next level.
so grateful. I am so grateful. Next level. Seriously, like I don't even know what to say, how much I learned from them. The compassion, they were messaging, they hang up. They're like, Mommy, it's just that when you start arguing and fighting, it gets really uncomfortable and it's not fun at all. And so I just hung up, but I love you so much. Mommy, I'm like, son, like I just love you so much. You tell me what you need. You tell me you like out of love and compassion, you're setting not even your boundaries, but like doing what you need to do for your own well-being. And then sending me love and compassion. Like, wow. Next morning. So I heard in the background, she's being so selfish. She can't celebrate this thing for you. And I honestly couldn't think about what else I wanted for my babies. In the morning, God is like, Nicole, you are being selfish. You are thinking only from this place of what you want and what you think is the pathway. And through the Healy, I've gotten this little feedback of in family relationships, you're operating from fear. And then I was like, oh, I am being selfish. I'm coming from the place of, I mean, I'm being righteously. And I also held the space for me. It's okay for me to feel this way. That why don't he put this money and like bring the kids here? Like this, there could be a collaborative creation. At the same time, I'm only thinking of what I think is the best thing for my kids and what I want for them and how I think it should unfold. And God was like, you are being selfish. This is selfish. You couldn't celebrate with him. He, when you met him, was in completely different financial reality. Today he can buy a house. That's a huge accomplishment. Huge. They are going to have a backyard as opposed to being in an apartment. Like this, all this wins. You can celebrate with them. That would have been not selfish. And it was like, it just hit me. And all I got also was like compassion for my own self, compassion from like the whole thing. And then I just, you know, I was like, and it is coming from fear, because this is so many ways that the win for all can unfold. Yeah. I just get to release, let go, trust, and surrender, and realize he's doing an amazing job as a father. Like we're living a very unconventional life, yet he's showing up in a way where he's like showing like grounding, and all these things that I have not been appreciated since the beginning, since I got pregnant, because I'm a free spirit and I want to go adventure the world and I want to take my family with me. Yet he's providing something different, which is like this ground, this safety, and I have not been able to appreciate that ever. And so when it hit me, I was like so humble. I'm like, no wonder this man fucking can't stand me, because that's so important. And I've witnessed him go up and up and up and up and up since I've met him. And I know I contribute to that, but then at the same time, I've diminished it. So it honestly was just like such a big, beautiful slap in the face, which humbled me. And I called my kids and I apologized. and they took the apologies immediately. And since then on, this is like last week, like a week and a half ago, it's actually me accepting and celebrating and realizing how selfish I've actually been. Oh, even it's hard for me to say that out loud right now, but it feels really real. I'm like, feel even more free. I feel like now he's like, I'm like, oh my God, he's showing a way that is so grounded, so solid for my kids, that I can go do things in the planet that maybe I was meant to be doing without my kids, that I would have never choose if the other situation was being, and if he wasn't the provider that he's being. I just get to trust that at some point we come all together. And I feel next level free, and opportunities are flying my way, that if I was holding on to the way that I think things should have unfold, I would have not said yes to these opportunities. So I really wanted to share that with you, because
I
and I
love
wanted to
that.
come share this with my audience, because it's been like, oh my God, like the level of when we look inside and show up from responsibility. And my kids I can see the calmness, I can see they're good, I can see how much in like peace they're showing up since I had that realization.
This is such a mind-blowing, vulnerable, honest share. And it's such a gorgeous example of what it looks like to move from the ego to the heart. The ego separates us. It lives in fear. It lives in worry, lives in lack. It feels like I'm not going to have enough. I'm going to lose them. And this is, we're all connected. It's all unfolding beautifully. It's all going to work out for all of us in the highest good. And your win's my win, and my win's your win. And this, like, us being one.
Yes.
That's what the heart does. It connects us. Like, you got a house, I celebrate. And I can see the gifts that your winning gives to me.
Exactly.
You know, it's like when we see somebody online and they're succeeding, it's like, either do I celebrate it, or do I go, oh, why does she have that? Why does he have, right? It's like, and jealousy, envy can be powerful if we use it for good, right? But it's like understanding we're all actually one. It's not just some cliche cute thing we see on a Hallmark card. It's the real actual thing. You're on a planet where you're all connected. And when you rise, I rise. When I rise, you rise. And understanding that you are the center, like you said.
Yeah.
You are the center of everything. And clearing that lens is my life's work moving forward, and helping people to get to that place where they can continue to come back to their heart, live from the heart, and love themselves.
Yeah.
Have compassion. You cannot love other people unless you love yourself. That's my belief. That's my 2 cents. People get pissed off hearing that.
No.
Because what I see, and what, if we really peel back the layers, is we love, but there's conditions. We love because we think we're going to get back. It's like, will you fill my cup then? If I love you, will you fill my cup? And it's like this conditional bullshit game we play. And it's like, you fill your own damn cup. And you give from overflow. You give from overflow. Because when we give the stuff we didn't have to give, we resent people after.
Always.
We resent people. We overgive, we overdo. We were taught that self-sacrifice is lovely. And it's like, we are literally turning the whole experience of human relationships on its head. Right? And I think you're a beautiful example of how, when people do this, when they're on the path and their soul's awakening and they start to see the illusions that were there before, then it's just more fun. You're living in such a beautiful energy in a space. Now you're a magnet for all these new interactions, these new relationships, your relations, like your kids are doing better. Everyone around you's thriving. Yeah. It's like win, win, win. It's not like, oh, I got to do the hard work and this is going to be painful. It's like, no, that roar that you let out, if you didn't let it out, it's going to sit in your body.
Exactly.
If it sits in your body, it's going to make you sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how we're getting sick physically.
And this time, the other big difference is that I didn't shame myself for not being able, like, I didn't feel bad.
Yeah.
I didn't make myself wrong internally. I didn't beat myself up for not being able to be in the celebration, right? I noticed it. I was like, oh, it would have been so nice if I would have had already this relationship.
Yeah.
And I could have gifted that, but it was like, okay, that would have been nice. And I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm not going to do myself wrong. In the past, I would have been such a hard fuck, I fucked it up. Now I like I would have had all this self-loading if I didn't show up the way that I would have liked to show up. And now this was like, oh, okay. So it's just that process of like loving yourself, like you say, it
Yeah.
must be the first one. You can only love other people and show up
Yeah.
in compassion and appreciation and all this when you're
Yeah.
showing up for yourself in this way first.
Yeah. Yeah. My desire for people, whether it's through this program or otherwise, is that they start with that connection with themselves. They start to tune into their desires, their wants. I think a lot of people wouldn't have, I think still to this, won't be able to appreciate the move that you made. Like, and when we met, I said to you, I think you did for you the right thing. And I like bowed down to you, because that takes real connection to self, right? And it's not going to be everyone's move, but for you, that was the move, and you honored that. And now you're happy, and your child will benefit from you being happy at a distance and being able to FaceTime and call and do all the things, as opposed to being miserable in a relationship in a country and all the things where it wasn't for you. So it's reconnecting to ourselves, which we lose in relationships, loving on ourselves, understanding the difference between ego and love, and fear and love, and also then understanding that it's not just a relationship with yourself, it's a relationship with life, God, source, whatever the heck you want to call it. I don't really care, but you're spinning on a rock in the middle of outer space, people. Like, and if you don't get it, you don't get it. You're not the one right now for me. Maybe you'll get it, right? But it's like, you are connected, you are a part of a bigger thing, and having a relationship with that and understanding that it's the one that fuels your cup, that you don't need other human beings to fill you up. And if you do go into a relationship thinking that that's what's going to happen, it's going to end. It's going to come to a screeching halt. Okay. Because, right. So if something comes to an end, if a friend's like, I can't talk to you anymore, whatever. I had my mentor of 25 years pass away. In that, what I've learned since that moment was, and even when my first child passed at delivery, God is always finding you another path to the love that you desire and deserve. And so when you start to understand and connect to that energy, you become the most powerful human being, because it's like, it's not from there, then from here. If not from, right? And the most powerful love is literally direct. That's it. You as all of it, right? And so that's kind of the second stage of this program, and the kind of the reworking of energy I want to do is a 1 month intensive, and we'll have 10 calls and maybe more if we need more, but at least 10. And then the next phase, it's like, I know who I am. I remember who I am. I'm powerful. I don't need anybody in my life. I desire connection. I don't need connection. I desire. It's a very different energy. It's again, fear versus love, right? And then once we have connection with something bigger, and we remember who fuels us, how we get fueled, and that this unlimited tap constantly, we open ourselves up to receiving that. Now you change who you are in relationships. And now it's not about what can you give me? It's about who do I get to be? What opportunity do you give me in this moment to be more of love, more of compassion, more of kindness, friendship, all the things that we came here to give.
And practice that, and like not even practice that, like play that with other people. Like, and I'm saying it in the play of like the playfulness of life. Like it's about who do I want to share this experience of love? Who do I want to share this experience of peace? Who do I want to share this experience of abundance? Who do I want to? It's so powerful. It's a completely different foundation for relationship building.
Totally.
I think also like I want to see more talk about this in relationship with our children, like the relationship with our children. Show up from this place of extra, just honoring yourself, what it is, and then it's about sharing. And that was like a very big reframe for me as well. And like the ability to be far from them, it was like I'm actually building a lifelong relationship with them. And this way, I want to do it in a way that it's like I am 100% in alignment and fulfilled, because it's a whole life experience. It's not just until they turn 18 and then I'm like gonna go. No, that is not sustainable relationship. That's why so many people actually don't have a really good relationship after or at all with
Yeah.
their kids after they go out of their home and
Yeah.
they're feeling unfulfilled. And so like it's all of the relationships that you're
Yeah. I've seen people say oh, but I gave and now my kid doesn't call me and my kid, right? And it's like, whoa, let's get that. Let's look at that, because if we were giving from a cup overflowing and we were giving just because it's like, wow, you're my child and I get to give to you, what an honor to be your mother, you would not have that energy of it's resentment. We overgave. Maybe we gave where we couldn't really give because we were told that's what a mom should do. And it's like, I understand that's old programming, but how did that work out for you, right? Like,
how does that work out for like most of what we're witnessing, like
right,
around?
right. And then when the child feels that energy, it's a repellent. That neediness is a repellent. When you're dating and you're needy and you go to a bar, good luck. Like, it's a repellent for people. It's not attractive, right? It's like the guys are picking up the chicks who are already whole and complete and having a party, whether or not the guy comes by or not. Not the ones that are going, is he looking at me? Right? It's like the minute I'm in a relationship, I was a magnet. It was like, I don't need you. I'm having shots with my girlfriend. Back it up, right? Like, and it's like, oh, they're like bees because
exactly.
she's got it going on. So it's the same thing in every relationship. It's the same with parents, the same with children, the same with all of it. So it's a whole complete revolutionizing of how we enter relationships. It's like I want to turn it right upside down. And I think one of the biggest gifts that I get from doing this work is shifting the energy in people's homes, of course, but also it upgrades the energy in my home, because as I'm doing it, I'm checking myself. I'm in there going, how can you add this? How can you up level this? How can you go from A+ to A++ or whatever, from B, C, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? But it's like, I get to go on the tour with the group.
Yeah.
And it's the biggest privilege of my life.
I love it. I love that you shine the light on that, because that's, I think it's also the new the new era of service and guiding and holding and transformation, and like just providing this space for expansion for people, is that we're actually acknowledging that we're going through it and we're upgrading. And it just actually is so beautiful to me, because we're recognizing, we're not putting people on pedestals anymore. We're like, no, I'm showing you I'm upgrading my life. I said, I have this wisdom. There's always a next layer. Like I always also with programs and the work that I do and my mastermind and my clients, I'm like, I'm doing this for myself. There's multiple layers. Like a lot of what I do is freedom.
Yeah.
And I teach people how to step into freedom. And so my own journey, well, like you say, like what I stepped into, I was feeling like it was me next level, making a choice based on freedom and alignment that has an incredibly positive effect. That wasn't an easy choice. But so I live like, I always get the feedback, like, you're so free, like you're so free. And it's like, and it's very inspiring for people. Some people it's intimidating, but now I'm actually being led to an environment where there's actually the context is of freedom. So I'm actually not feeling like a completely fish out of the water that is triggering everyone around me. I was placed in a place where I was like, I can inspire even next level. The context is already freedom. I'm going next level, but there's the layers of my own self. I know there's always like a next level, next layer of expansion and freedom that I can achieve within my own self.
And this is it.
That's for
you already live it, and you're going to upgrade it.
Yeah.
You already live it. Like, and that's key. You do need to be living it you have to embody it, right? Like, and I say like relationships, I think that's my biggest thing. Like, I think that's my biggest gift. Like I have a great relationship with the people in my life. And often I'm the neighbor or the family member that gets pulled in to mediate, and, and I do that. And it's always non-legal. And I get comments all the time. People are like, how did you get through to that person? Like, you're the only one that person will listen to. You're the only one that like said that before. I always say, like, I'm a tour guide, Yeah, I love this. So it's like, if I'm a tour guide of Italy, I've done this before. You're coming to me because I've done this before. I know the good restaurants. I know where the sun sets. I know where the shortcuts, the paths, right? And I fucking love Italy. So I get to have a gelato with you. I get to see the sunset over again. I get to go oh, I forgot how good this was, right? Like, that's what it feels like to me. It's like, there's never enough. There's always more. It just
Yeah.
gets deeper and better. But I happen to know a few things and I'm ready to share it. So it could be your tour guide, you know? That's what it
I
feels like,
love the term tour guide. Oh my God.
right?
I might borrow that.
Borrow it, take
Yeah,
it, use
yeah,
it.
I'm always like, man, like I shifted because like none of the terminology
Yes,
fully feels like it lands and it
I get
aligns.
it.
I love tour guide for
Yeah,
now.
you're right.
So
Yeah,
beautiful. It's always for me like your presence online, and when I catch your snippets, and like it's such a good reminder. Again, it's like it's good for us to surround ourselves and go into the programs and the things that and hire the people and be tapped into the humans that are going to be reminding us of this. Like for me, you're like, I hear you, I'm like, okay, it's always like a click, like, okay, yes, that's the path I'm walking. And it's so important because there's more and more of us, which is super celebration that we're growing, is evolving. The consciousness in the planet is racing, more and more people are showing up in this way, yet it's still so much more predominant the other. So it's so valuable to surround ourselves and to invest in things like this. And it blows my mind how much like people just there's this things of the system that people are just like autopilot, go, I'll have to figure out, but I'm gonna have to spend all this thousands and thousands of dollars in this because it's been like the regular path, which continues to lead people into conflict and pain. But people will go and figure out how to get whatever $20,000-$30,000 and be broke from going to lawyers and like court and all this, or other pathways too, like with the work that I do with birth and pregnancy and like the fertility and infertility, people's like 20, they like $80,000 go. And it's like, yes, like invest this money in the new pathways that are actually so much more elevated in the results. So I think we're in that era of like starting to trust.
People are getting it.
Pathways.
Yeah. I think there's so many things at play. I think people are awakening. I think education system is not what we thought it was. I think religion is not traditionally what we thought it was. You know, like people in my generation, I know a single person goes to, maybe I know one, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that, but people are looking for guidance and we're just revolutionizing how people are guided. And it's like, oh, instead of I'm at the bottom of the mountain and this person at the top of the mountain, it's like, I'm going to grab the hand of the person that's right above. Like she's just a few steps ahead of me. And it's like, this is relatable for me because I'm right there. And for me, I work with people who are probably me 3-4 years ago, because it's like, I remember what you're going through. I know exactly where you are. I know exactly what worked. Let me show you, try it out. Boom. You know, it's like, wow, the speed at which things, it's mind blowing. And when I see your posts, you are the freedom embodiment. I feel it. Like I see it. I'm like, there she is, just being her authentic, gorgeous self. So I feel the same way about you.
We love each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this with me today.
Absolutely. I'm so happy that we got to get together and share. And I do really like, there's so many people that you know, that I'm witnessing that are going through, I think there's like separations and divorce are also very like predominant right now because we're redefining the way of relating, like we're transitioning. And so it's normal that we're in a conflict with the old structure of relating. And I'm always thinking of you for like plug in people that are like going through the conflict, and it doesn't matter the outcome, it's just like the how of the journey, like you were saying. If you're partner ways, the thing is, actually, I'm going to share this with you. Like I have a deep belief, and I have never broken up with anyone. So I have a deep belief that you don't need to end relationships. That's a lie to me. It's like relationships don't end. Even if you don't have children, you have a relationship with the person. It didn't end. Maybe you're not together, maybe you don't see each other. Maybe the way that relationship was working evolved, and it does not have to be a conflict. You can actually still count it as a relationship. You can still have love. Maybe you don't have sex anymore. Maybe you don't live together anymore. Maybe there's certain things that the dynamics that shifted that needed to be adjusted because you're evolving, things are moving, whatever the relationship is. And like, that's what I think you're bringing into this. It's like, can we get to the point where we're just like evolving relationships and we continue to build more and more relationships out of trust and love and responsibility, and
Yeah.
realize that we're all just here, like what you we're wrapping it up right to the beginning. We're
Yeah.
all one, and we're all one big human family.
Oh, yeah.
Can we
Yeah.
please?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Let's get
the kids win in this for me. That's
oh,
huge. You know, I was homeless when I was 16. I lived like a nomad. I have such a beautiful home experience, and I think everyone deserves that, whatever it looks like, solo, with the group, with the tribe, whatever. It starts next week. It starts on Tuesday, but there will also be replays, and like, you know, people find things with the right time. And
yeah.
yeah, it's
How
like,
long is it? How long is the
yeah.
program?
So it's 1 month.
Okay.
Usually I used to do 8 weeks, but I've doubled down. So it's gonna be 2 calls a week. It's more like a relationship intensive, I'm calling it. So we'll meet twice a week, and then there will be one evening session where it's like a deep dive, I call it, where the mics are on and everyone's talking and sharing and asking questions, and I'll jump in when it's needed. So I just go with the flow with that. It's 2 hours. We show up in our pajamas with tequila or tea, whatever you want. And then there will also be one live meditation. And so for me, a huge part of the work that I do is, I don't want to just be a podcast. I don't want to just show up and talk into your ear and you hear concepts. There is definitely a healing vibration frequency code thing happening, whatever you want to call it. You're learning things, but application in your life is so key. So part of the thing is integrating new tools, new habits into our life. You know, if you keep making cake with the same shitty ingredients, you get the same shit cake. So it's like little tweaks, like, oh, you're not supposed to put, you know, Tabasco in the cake. It's like, oh, small tweak, but now it's a different cake, right? So it's not like you gotta do 2 hours a day. It's like 20 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, but it's bringing conscious awareness at the conscious level and shifting how we think and feel, like above the iceberg, what you can see above the surface, and then also working at the subconscious level. So I show, there'll be multiple meditation resources that I share, but that's the most profound tool I've ever connected with. And so I share it, and while people are with me, they tour it.
I mean, that's my experience with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I want to say one more thing about working with you that has been super powerful is the level of authenticity and realness. Like, you're probably of all the people that I've paid for, that I work with, that show up in such a real ass way. I'm like, that to me is so valuable in itself, because you embody the essence and then you show up in it, and it's like, it's so organic. I think it accelerates the process in itself, just being able to work with someone, like you said, that is just like showing up as they fully are and relating in such easeful way.
Thank you.
So yeah, I highly recommend working with these gorgeous women. Please
Thank
get
you.
her
Thank you. Thank you. And hopefully, regardless of anything, people got something from today. Like it's always like an invitation and timing and all the things.
How do they connect with you? How do anyone that wants to jump on the program or even like follow you and like have your vibration, your frequency come to them? How do they connect?
You're so cute. So everything I do is, it's called Consciousness with Rad. So if you're looking at this on IG, then you'll see our tags and you can join me there. Consciousness with Rad, RAD. Of course, I picked the hardest word in the English language to spell, but yeah, I'm sure people will figure it out. And my website is also consciousnesswithrad.com. And all the programs, podcasts, resources, offerings. I do a lot of work with professionals, executives, lawyers as well, which I really love. So that's also one of my loves. And eventually we want to start doing more work with children. So
yes,
yeah. So it's like all evolving.
You know, you and I are coming together to do some work with that.
I'm gonna bring them to the Dominican.
Yes.
That'd be good.
I will love it. I will love it. And if you're a lawyer, please reach out to these women. Like, please work with that. I love you.
Yeah, we have our work cut out in the legal profession. It's not an easy job. It's a hard job, and I think the more equipped lawyers can be in their own mindset, in their own heart set, their own self-care, and all the things, and their clarity. Don't get me started on the lawyers because there's so much juice there, but there is a link there on the website if you happen to be one, you can check it out and see if it's for you.
Love it. Okay. Thank you so much for all your shares and your beauty and your gorgeousness and your wisdom and your consciousness. I love you.
Thank you. I love you so much. Thank you for this. Thank you.
Yeah.